you. Thank you and you and you and all the people you came in with. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You are listening to The Bob Doyle Show, and I have no idea why. There's absolutely no incentive for you to do that. I've given you no reason. I've never said, hey, this is what the show is about, and this is what you can expect. It's just me turning on the microphone. That's going to sell a lot of tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you agree? So, yeah, here's the dealio. I really wanted to do this at 7 o'clock because what I'm trying to do is create a regular time for, quote-unquote, The Bob Doyle Show. And I'll talk more about that in just one moment. Basically, it's so that people will actually listen, or they know when to listen and can choose at that time. You know what? It's 7 o'clock on a Monday night. I choose not to listen to Bob. Or they could choose to say, well, you know what? Let's figure out what this is about. As Bob, me, is doing the exact same thing, figuring what it's all about. I have a few things. I did actually write down a few things. Like, you could talk about this, or you could talk about that, or you could talk about this, that, and the other. So I wrote some of those down, but I do want to say this too. Now the thing is right now I'm recording this, or not recording. I'm actually broadcasting. I said nope. I'm going to go live. So right now it's 6:33 p.m. Pacific time on October 20th, 2014. Who could ever forget that amazing, amazing day? So there's really no one listening live right now, I don't think, which is fine, because why would you? You wouldn't even know to. But I think we've discussed that. One of the things that I'm doing is, in addition to this podcast, is also a podcast that I do with a friend of mine from Atlanta, who he and I used to do it wasn't called a podcast back then, just an internet radio show for a while called The Lounge Show. And so we're also reinstating that. And, of course, there's Fun with Bob and Lynn, the best-kept secret of the podcast world, because we have 50-something shows, and you've probably never heard one. We've been doing them for 2 years. The reason that you don't know about them is because we never told you on a consistent basis, hey, here's when you can listen or be a part. And that's same thing with my show, same thing with the Lounge Show. So the whole idea is, you know what? Let's get organized. Let's get a calendar, shall we? So I was going to do this at 7. And I actually basically started about 30 minutes early. But I was just ready to do it. Quite honestly, I didn't want to sit around for half an hour going, okay, I'll do it at 7. I'm just going to do this one now, and you'll know that from now on, very possibly, Monday nights at 7 will be this program. Now, I have to use the word program loosely because program would suggest that there is a program, a plan. Like I sat down and said, here's what we're going to do on this. This is everything I'm going to say. But obviously, I probably will do that 10% of the time. I certainly did a little bit today, just because I'm calling it my first official, regularly scheduled show, even though it's not even on the right time. The way my brain works, I really can't help it. It's just my gift. So one of the other fun things about this is that because of the way we're doing it now inside basically a studio, we have the ability to take your calls. Take your calls via Skype, basically. I'm seriously looking at getting a Skype number, where you can actually call a phone number and get into Skype so you don't have to log onto the computer. You could actually pick up your cell phone, make a call, and then you're on the program. But right now, we're just doing Skype, which means you'd have to be at your computer or whatever. But as I'm saying that out loud, I'm going, well, you know what? What are the odds of that? Well, actually, they're pretty good because you are sitting down. If you're hearing this, you're at a computer, most likely. It's possible you're listening on your mobile device as you go out and about. I don't really know if that's possible. I guess it's possible. Not today, it's not possible, but because no one, again, knows that I'm even doing this. And if you stumbled across it by accident, welcome. What I was just getting at, in fact, was telling you that on my show and the one I do with Lynn Rose and the one I do with Rob Scott, The Lounge Show. We're going to be taking calls via Skype, and each one, of course, each show has a different Skype ID, if you will. So, and if you won't, then I just don't understand why. It seems very stubborn of you. Bob Doyle Show. Bob Doyle Show is the Skype ID of this program. So if you wanted to, call and just be a part of the program, that's what you do. You Skype me at Bob Doyle Show. But here's the thing, and Lynn and I do our show, and we always, whenever we have this configuration, we throw out, hey, call us. But there's really no incentive, right? I mean, why would you just call? Just to say, hey, I called, and here's my voice, and hi, Bob. So that's no reason to call. So I haven't enticed you. I haven't given you any real reason to call. The only reason I'm asking you to call at all is just to say, hey, look, we can take calls, and here's proof. Here's Stephanie from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? I'm doing really good, Bob. So what brings you to the show today? Well, I just saw it post on Facebook, and I thought I'd just check it out. No real reason. Okay, well, so what do you think so far? Well, I'm really kind of confused as to what's going on and what the show's about. Well, we're just as confused as you are, Stephanie. Thanks for the call. We're going to go on to Mitch. Mitch in Lansing, Michigan. Hi, Mitch. Hi there, Bob. You got a really funny voice there, Mitch. Yeah, well, it was just, I was just born with it, so I just roll with the punches. That's really good. I think that's a great attitude. I think you should keep doing that. We're going to move on. You know what? We're out of time for calls right now. Yeah, I'm just fresh out of time for those types of calls. However, if you'd like to call at Bob Doyle's show on Skype, well, you just go right ahead. So I'm really just practicing for when we actually have listeners on any of these programs, because clearly right now, if you're listening to this, you're listening to, like, out of curiosity. You went back and said, well, let me hear some of the other stuff he did, like, way back when he was just starting. And then you're listening to this and you go, wow, so that was like 3 years ago, and he hasn't changed a bit. He's still just as ridiculously stupid. All right, that, I shouldn't be that harsh on myself. Ridiculously stupid? I don't know that's necessarily accurate. Okay, so let's go to my little list here. I don't know how long I'm going to go. I know I've gone 7 minutes and 58 seconds, so maybe I could go 30 minutes. Shall we go for 30? Okay, we're going to go with 30. So let's talk a little bit. Well, first of all, before I even do that, the thing about these shows, are you listening? Hey, I need your attention. Thank you. The thing about these shows is the thing with Rob Scott, The Lounge Show. Again, that we created that in early 92 or 3 or 4, something early, a long time ago. And we did that for a while on Live 365, which was a platform, still is, I think, for broadcasting out. But now there's so many others like this that I'm using that I think are better, certainly in terms of sound quality, etc. But when we did that show, we had that, we knew what it was. It was Rob being Rob and me being me, and kind of based off of more Chicago-style radio that Rob and I know, love, and appreciate. So we did that, and then we didn't do it for a long time. And then now Lynn and I started to do our thing a couple of years ago, and we started with sort of a structure. Well, here's what we're going to talk about, and let's, we'll do this and that. And that quickly disintegrated into just us talking about whatever our day is, whatever we're doing. That show, we've gone cross-country together when I moved from Atlanta to L.A., just sitting around the house, and we say, let's do a show. Boom. And there's a show. And we're talking about whatever. And sometimes Lynn will, be in a very I'm gonna transform people kind of mode. And I say this with love because she always thinks I'm making fun of her, and I'm not. I'm celebrating her. But the point is, she may have like a message, and I'm just not that. I'm all about transformation. Obviously, it is what I'm doing with my life, facilitating it. I have a very different energy around it, and so that's what makes the Bob and Lynn thing what it is she's all light, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use it. She would say snarky, but that's not what I am. It's not that. It's not about being snarky. It's just about a very different way of being about certain things, not all things. But anyway, that's the chemistry of Fun with Bob and Lynn, which we've been doing for a long time, and like I said, with no real schedule. The beauty of the technology is that we could do it anytime, anywhere with our phones. We could broadcast live. But now we're committing to sort of this Tuesday. Well, for us, it'll be Tuesday nights at 7, sitting down here in the studio, the very same studio that I am talking on now. The other thing that I didn't do on this one that I thought I would do was simultaneous Google Hangout. That's what we did this. Lynn and I did this last week as a test for our first sort of, non-promoted show, which we really haven't done a good job of promoting tomorrow's show either. So we'll probably even call that one another test. But I'm telling you about it. I'm saying, hey, tomorrow, that'll be October 21st at 7 p.m. Pacific time, Fun with Bob and Lynn. So, but, it's the same questions. It's like, well, why do I listen and why would I call? And I think you're just going to have to listen to find out if you are so called to call, as it were. People are going to have to understand what the show is about. We're still trying to figure it out. I know this show, the Bob Doyle Show, and I have a little story about that if you'd like to hear it. Excuse me. The Bob Doyle Show is totally about me just turning on the mic and saying, whatever, however, maybe pulling the ukulele down. Probably not today, but, it could happen. It could you could break out at any time on any show for any reason. But like I say, probably not today. I forgot where I was going with that. All right, well, except that the whole thing is that was really just a promotion. It was a promotion for Fun with Bob and Lynn tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here. Well, not right here. Right here you'd be listening to this, obviously. But it would be at funwithbobandlynn.com. All righty. So yesterday I had a birthday party. Is that a great segue or what? Now, I wrote that down as, one of the things I could talk about. It was like, well, I had a birthday party. Lynn threw it for me. Invited a large handful of my friends. And I said, well, maybe I'll just talk about that a little bit. But I thought this in my head when I wrote it down. I said, you're going to start talking about it. You're going to bring it up. You're going to read it off the sheet and say, okay, birthday party. You're going to start talking about it, and you're going to either click in with, well, and here's what I'll say about it, or realize, who cares? Nobody cares about my birthday party. Although you should, ladies and gentlemen, because it was awesome. No, seriously, it was really, it was just, see, the thing about Lynn, what I really love about Lynn, well, there's many things, but this is one of them. She is, if she has a party thrown for you, it's going to be exactly right. It's not necessarily going to be a big, huge, over-the-top thing. It's going to be exactly the right people with exactly the right energy, and you're just going to have a great time and feel loved. And she seems to really be about that, with making people feel loved on their day, or whatever their, if it's their birthday or for whatever reason we might be celebrating them. So, and yesterday was no exception. I was doing a lot of cooking, so I was kind of busy. But the people who showed up, I had some great surprises. People who were invited, who I thought, well, they probably won't come, but let's please invite them anyway. I want them to know that I would like them to come, that kind of thing. But they probably won't come. And then they did. They did. And some people drove almost 2 hours. That's right, 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen, to come have a handful of chicken wings and various other snacks and doodads. So, yeah, what else could I say about that? Well, all right. Now, see, I'm totally just like, hey, wait a minute. I just see that there's something in the chat window. Oh, it's Vanessa. Vanessa, I love you. Thank you. It's good to hear from you. Vanessa is, I don't even know how to describe her, except to say that she's just a wonderful friend who's followed me. She's followed me and Lynn, and she's just good people. Good people. So now I'm totally sidetracked. Birthday party. So now I've learned a lesson. Don't go to the chat until you're finished with your thought. That's, major, that's broadcasting 101, ladies and gentlemen. And that shows you how long it's been since I've been in the game. But it's not easy when you're doing a podcast like this. There's no producer, there's nobody saying, here's what you do next. Take this call right now from this person. Nope. And certainly in my case with basically there's no, script, this loose outline. Anyway, back to the birthday party. Although I know there was something I was going to say about that. I know there was. Oh, well. I don't remember. All right. So here's the thing. And now I see the chat windows there. And it's Vanessa again thanking me. I thought maybe she was going to say, here's what you were talking about. Because that would be something she would do. Like save the day. Not in this case, though, apparently. I'm kidding. All right. So that's what else? Birthday party, really? Oh, okay. I will share this. So at some point in the evening, suddenly this woman walks into the room and she starts singing Climb Every Mountain, okay? And basically it's a singing telegram, and she is Maria von Trapp. Now I'm just going, I've never had somebody do that for me before, and it could have been anybody. But I'm, feeling like embarrassed and going, okay, where's this going? But to make a long story short, it was delightful. Like she wasn't a stripper. It's basically what I'm saying. No, she just sang some of the songs. She based them around my age, and you are 49, going on 50, like that. And the thing is that everybody in the room knew all of these songs that she was singing, so it became this massive sing along. So, like, I didn't even I know Sound of Music, but not as much as every single other person in that room. Hear my phone going off. So my phone, this is another, I could go off on this tangent, I can tell you. But I won't, not until I finish this. So she does the whole, I guess that's really it. So it was a Maria von Trapp singing telegram. And so there was, a good time was had by all. And that was it. But it was really actually very, very cool. And it ends up that Lynn's sister, Susie, sent that because she couldn't be there because she was feeling ill. So I hope I didn't spill too many beans. She wasn't up to it. She had an appointment with the president. I can't remember. Anyway. So that was an interesting thing because I've never had that done before. And like I said, it was completely harmless, but it was funny after the fact talking to people and they're going, is this a stripper? Is she going to take her clothes off? Which would have been number one. So not a Bob Doyle party thing. But the other thing is we live on a corner with open glass windows. It would have been, she wouldn't have gotten, you know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So let's see. Well, how much time I got left? 12 minutes. And I only have one more thing, and it's really lame. It really isn't even a topic. So there you go. Show prep. Show prep is important sometimes to have something to fall back on. So if you, dear listener, are a podcast, aspiring to do a podcast, and you say, all I got to do is turn on the mic, I'm with you. I believe that, and I'm sure that I will go 19 more minutes. Oh, God, is that right? No, 11 more. What is it? 11 more minutes. 11 more minutes I'll go, and who knows what I'll talk about. One of my favorite podcasters, Mark Maron. Have I talked about him before? I think I actually have. I think I just talked about him on Rob Scott when he and I did. Yes, I know I did. So when Rob and I reinstated the Lounge Show last weekend or whatever, we haven't nailed down a time, but check your local listings. So, but we do know Bob and Lynn tomorrow. Me maybe Monday nights at 7. And then we'll figure it out with Rob because it's probably going to be a weekend thing. Because he works for the man. Okay, I've said it, and he won't always, and he and I can talk about that on the show sometime. Anyway, so to call in again, Skype at Bob Doyle Show. That's it, Bob Doyle Show. Let's see. Okay, so what else can I say here? Banjolele. That's the next thing on my list. So I went home Last week, the 8th, actually, was my birthday, so jot it down on your calendars. You can go out and, next time you're out, you can just buy cards for the next 5-6 years, whatever, because card technology may change even more drastically than it already has, and why would you buy more than 6 years' worth of cards? Because you may not even need them anymore at that time. But now, just go ahead, buy 6 cards for me for the next 6 years, October 8th. And you can just send them and, do your best to make them land on my birthday. Because, the day after, it's like, really? You couldn't, you did a little extra work? Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm having too much fun. See, this is why I have to do this. Lynn, actually, is not even here tonight. She is in the Palms Desert or something. And she's singing and wowing people, as she always does. So banjolele. So I went home to Atlanta for my birthday to spend some time with my kids, because that's what you do. And it was awesome. And it was, I took my son to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And if you know Chattanooga, Tennessee, you know Rock City, Ruby Falls, and the Tennessee Aquarium. And those are the 3 things that I did with him. He's 14 years old, so it was great because he wasn't like a little kid who it didn't have to be like, awe-aspiring wonder and pretending or dragging them along when they're not interested. And he's not, 17 where he's like, I totally don't care about this, It was just great for us to be together. But Rock City, if you've never been, there's some creepy parts to it. It's beautiful, it's beautiful. And there's some really cool stuff. And you think, wow, a lot of work went into this. But there's this whole thing with gnomes. I think Lynn and I talked about this maybe briefly on our last show. Gnomes and fairy tale land and Mother Goose land or whatever it is. Anyway, if you've never been, you got to go, but just be prepared to be a little bit creeped out. That's all I'm saying about that. So I was in Atlanta. In Atlanta I was. And so in Atlanta is where the guy I buy ukuleles from lives and does his business. When I first started buying ukuleles back in 2010, he was basically selling them out of his home/trunk. And since that point, like right about the time I moved to L.A., he opened up a storefront. Well, thank you for that timing. It was still kind of far from where I was living, but in Atlanta. Point is, I never got there while I lived there. And so when I went there this last week or 2 weeks or whatever it was, I made it a point to go to that ukulele store, knowing that for my birthday I would buy myself a ukulele. And what I had pretty much thought that I wanted was called a banjolele, and it's tuned like a ukulele. The chords and everything, if you know how to, it's the exact same thing. You're playing a ukulele in terms of how it's tuned and all of that. Except that instead of a wooden, body and all of that, it has the banjo body, that little, like the skin, and it bangs it sounds like a banjo. Basically, you're playing the ukulele and it sounds like a banjo. And I thought, well, that'd be fun. And truly, ladies and gentlemen, it is a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, I won't play a song right now, but I'll just give you a demonstration because, of course, you're interested. Who wouldn't care about this? All right, so this is just my tenor ukulele, basic wood, ukulele, like you've seen a million times. All right, so you get the idea. Okay, like that. The banjolele. So you can probably hear it. So that's all that you get for that. In terms of a demonstration, really wasn't supposed to be a concert or anything. I was just telling you. Basically, that was just my obnoxious way of saying, here's what I got myself for my birthday. Because, who wouldn't care about that? Again, it's probably one of those things that's going to go viral. I know, this show will go viral because I told you that I bought myself a banjolele. But, that's just a risk I take. When you go viral, here's the impact. You know, when you go viral like this show, obviously millions and I can't untold millions of shares and passing around. Every piece of data associated with the share is taking up space on a hard drive somewhere. Hard drive or, a solid state drive, whatever. It's taking up physical, energetic space. So I just want you to think about that. Okay, so now I'm at the point now where I really did not plan anything else. And, of course, because no one's listening, except, of course, Vanessa, it's not like we're going to be taking a ton of calls here. So I'm looking frantically around my studio. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about, because this is like, finally Bob will talk about his phone, because what could be more interesting than that, right? I mean, Bob Doyle has, and there it is now. It just spoke up. My phone. That's right. That's the topic. In fact, you know what? So, as long as I'm sitting here. So here's the deal. I have an iPhone 5. And you may have just heard it sing to you as I plugged it in. And I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, it stopped charging without, you have to plug the lightning cable in, but you have to bend it up a little bit. There has to be tension on the plug. Otherwise, the contacts or whatever aren't made, and the phone won't charge. And as time has gone on, it's gotten worse and worse. Like, all the tricks I would use to make the phone lean a certain way, which, by the way, pain in the butt. Yeah. And now it's getting to where it's not even doing that. So right now I'm holding it in my hand and I'm pushing the charger cable where it plugs in up with my pinky, and it's uncomfortable. And it's, like I said, it's just a real freaking nuisance, as you can imagine. So, of course, I'm just wanting to get I want to upgrade my phone. I've upgraded iPhones ever since the first one. And, so we're doing 6 Plus. We're a 6 Plus household right here. But apparently, they say they've got a 4-week back order, whatever. That's their story. And then you hear different things. Well, they'll tell you that, but, sometimes you get it in a week. I'm not attaching to that because, I don't want to get my hopes up. When I got the 5, I remember, this is shortly after I was spending more time in L.A., and Lynn and I were about to go out of town. We were about to go to Vegas, I think. And it was supposed to be delivered that day. Like, I knew it because I was tracking it. And we're outside and we're, just watching. And then UPS pulls up across the street in another complex. And I run, like a kid, I run over there. Do you have this? Do you have this? Yes. And I got it. It was awesome. Anyway, but the 6 Plus is now not just because I just want it. It's like, and now I need it because this freaking phone is driving me nuts. And there's a crack in the shield, and I can tell you I didn't drop it, so I don't know how it happened. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying it got dropped. But it's fine because, I wouldn't say it's fine, but whatevs, because I'm about to get the 6 Plus. Why the 6 Plus, Bob, you may ask? Isn't that really, really large? You know what? I heard people say, it's like a tablet. And then I went in there, and I said, it's not like a tablet. It's not that freaking huge. It's big. It's bigger than the 6. But I like these devices for 2 things, in addition to just their utility. Games and visual things. So the big screen is great. And then the camera. And the camera on this thing is freaking amazing. And I played with it a little bit in the Apple Store and did slow motion, and I did tested the stabilization, and it was just awesome. So, can't wait to get mine, but now I got to wait like a month. All right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I did the whole 30 minutes just like I said I would. That makes me a professional broadcaster, which is why you should listen every Monday night at 7 o'clock, which is exactly when I'm ending this one. So ironic. I started exactly 30 minutes early. Wow. Anyway, tell your friends, your family, write your congressman, whatever, all that stuff. Blog about it. You know what to do. Just spread the love. That's all I'm asking.